Gururbrahma Gururvishnu Gururdevo Maheshwaraya Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Shashvataha Shanto Vyomatito Niranjanaha Vindho Nadakalati Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shoshanam Bhavasindoscha Prapanam Sarasambhataha Yasya Pado Utakam Samyam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara. Namaste, Namaskaram, hello, hi. My name is Omar. I have been looking forward to find a resolution for the absence that was a design in itself. I feel it's the best if I can compensate to you with my presence and love in the way possible at this moment. I hope you will bear with me, and thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for understanding. Asatu ma satkamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityotma Amrutam Kamaya Shanti 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 Bismillah. The topic of our discussion today is fear. Fear of many different things. Some of them we know, some of them we do not. The work of fear is an act that comes on the physical platform of being as the body mind, as the response to the subconscious fear, that which are triggered either from present situations as a reaction around, or from the actions of memories stored within the system in different levels from our past. When I say stored from the past, I mean to explain that most of the roots of our fear are from the memories of the past. If we look at this moment now here, there are no reasons that we have to be scared about here in this moment. We are thinking either of the future, or we are entangled in the memories of the past. To be here in this moment, and this very moment, not this second, not this minute, this moment. The difference between a moment and a second is what we are to be conscious about in this very moment. This moment where we are, this very moment. More when we come into it, we truly understand that here in this moment of now, there is no fear. And in this fearlessness, the most important part, that which is the direction where we need to be more carefully putting our attention, is to be aware of this state of this very moment, practically experiencing with your own being. The whole thing is that in this moment of existence, there cannot be there cannot be any kind of fear to stop you from, because in being that presence, in the very being of that present itself, we understand that there is no fear. Now, more about fear. Even when there is fear, what is fear? Let's look at fear in a way where that fear is a product of certain things. Goes to past, is a memory, is a thought generated in the mixture with both the past and memory. Comes a new thought, and this thought, if is deep rooted into your system, creates physical reactions, increased heart rate, palpitation, heavy breath, sweating. A thought can generate, when if it's of a different vibration, a thought can generate such a physical reaction in your system. So can we imagine what fear can do? Fear is the vibration caused through different formulas which are of a low frequency. If we keep it forever within ourselves, it can make us sick mentally, psychologically, physically, emotionally. And what is fear? Fear is an illusion, because there is no fear in this moment here. And whatever that does not exist in this moment, how can it be real? How can it be real? So something unreal, a ghost, something that doesn't exist, is causing sickness, which I call a ghost, or let's call it a demon. Fear is a demon because it doesn't exist. Demons doesn't exist in this moment. They can only exist in the past or in the future. So this is why we say that when a person is so aware and present, no demons attack him or her. I'm sharing some secret paths which would help you to understand things in a way. Very well. Then the question comes, oh, what if fear comes? Like, if a snake comes or jumps onto you, or a tiger comes or a lion comes and you are in front of a lion, yes, come on, come on. This is a totally different situation, of course. There will be an adrenaline rush happening throughout your body. Your body already knows. And the best thing is not to go in front of a tiger or a snake. Come on, let's be more practical here. That's a different situation. So, to be talking about this, let's let's take for instance how it comes. Now we understand fear is a byproduct. Our senses, seeing, hearing, feeling, smell, these senses of a human being, every one of them, when we taste something, when we hear something, when we hear a certain kind of a sound, we it can create trigger of fear. So we have already classified certain things, certain sounds, certain um, colors, images, certain shape, certain pattern of face, or like so many things we have already conceived through our senses. Most of them could be from movies, could be from images, pictures, a lot of sources to trick us now and project things. So what I'm talking about is we are creating fear unknowingly from informations that we process into ourselves through different sources from outside, conceiving it through our senses unconsciously, conceiving unconsciously without being present to your senses. If we know what we are watching, if we know what we are seeing, and if we are aware about it, it will not be present within us in a way that is creating its own procedure and patterns in your thought system that generates fear. Now, when these informations goes, for example, if we see a horror movie, and if the whole process of sound and seeing is being put into your memory, into your mind sphere. Mind is a shapeless, formless, and limitless uh, system of intelligence and storage and many more features in it. If not navigated carefully, if not trained in a good manner, mind itself doesn't know how to do things other than the activities that is so core inbuilt in it. And as humans, to go to that core and reprogram the whole system in its absolute sense of uh, a complete recreation within your system, a complete reprogramming to those programs that's been driving you as a body, mind, and those things makes you experience life. If we are not taking consciously the responsibility to be able to respond to everything that we experience in the now, will make us the easiest, will show us the easiest method and way to consciously be capable of organizing all levels of your reality in a certain way, where you are the choice, consciously choosing how a certain thing needs to be placed within your mind. So what fear is, when you see, if we go to the dark, there is kind of a fear. The fear is basically about dying. So this is a basic human fear. Every human have this. And what will that cause? We don't know what happens when we die. It's a fear of not knowing the next stage. So the fear is of the basic fear of every living creature, which is present in everything common. You cannot go and kill anything. If you cut a chicken, if you cut anything, if you kill a mosquito, I'm not laughing at it, but it's also funny that we create it so much in a different way. We need to understand the fear that which is present and common in everything is the fear of death. Either the death of this body, because we do not know what happens the next. We are told about heaven and hell in stories from religions, from our cultures and traditions. We have much things, and an evolved civilization of human beings came in the coming centuries of the contemporary world, where for them heaven and hell is here. For somebody, heaven and hell is here. For someone, it is here. For someone, it's somewhere. Someone, it's here. Time has taken heaven and hell into such a um, variety of experiential explanations, where the truth is nobody knows. But to be creating heaven here in this moment, is it possible with who we are? Yes, it is possible. Heaven, to be experiencing heaven, is to be experiencing a very pleasant experience, that which is an experience that we can go through being human here. About the heavens that comes after that, after the death, uh, le- for sure we will go there. May we be all blessed to go into the heavens after that, but we do not have to wait to be in that heaven and to choose to be miserable here. So the whole act of this moment given to us, and why this moment is present with us, is because this moment itself is the doorway to take charge of every faculties in the system, and to navigate it from your awareness. And when, if we ever have had the choice, like we have been discussing from this session one, the day one where we started our challenge, if we know, given a choice, if we know how to navigate our complete sensory organs, our elements within the system, if we know how to balance them and if we know how to be conscious about them, and if we know how to be conscious, comes the point of choice. The choice to choose how to be comes with the understanding about taking charge of your subconscious through your senses, and to realize the understanding of how fear is generated and what is the root cause of fear of death. Let it be triggered by ghosts, let it be triggered by some horror movies, let it be triggered by the water, fear of water, fear of heights, fear of whatever, t- t- fear from past traumas, and how it affect you mentally is the fear about death of ego. Ego, basically, when I say, I refer to the identity of who as a being they are, by their name, by their identity, with whom they have identified themselves as, their prestige, their self respect, a lot of things. Ego is not a bad thing, but if consciously designed for the betterment of humanity, betterment of everyone, ego is not a bad thing. If ego is being designing itself from itself, but if ego is designed without your knowing, from its own idea about life and perception, then truly that's a dangerous weapon, because you have no role played in designing yourself as an identity. And this can be developed through every informations and data that your senses have perceived about the life that you have been through, you have been told, you have been said, you have heard, and all these programs coming together. I call them programs. These are informations and thoughts that's been sent into the system, which we are not conscious about, which will be and which is continuously creating the experience of who we are and how we experience life outside and how we perceive life are based upon the whole information, the whole data, the whole program that you have conceived unconsciously into your system, is that which we are sitting here now. If we are not aware about this very moment and all these things, to be aware about where am I operating my life from, what is that point, is the root of self awareness. And if we are unaware of what is happening, guys, hold on, there is a chopper flying. It's interesting. I love choppers. Well, if we are not aware about what is being perceived, it all goes into a space, it's into a dimension of mind. Like I said, mind have different dimensions. There are 7 levels of being in the mind. So if somebody is depressed, somebody is in fear, somebody is in anger, we need to understand that mind is in a certain segment, the basic line. So when a mind is in self-awareness, and when a mind is evolving through different levels, and when it reaches second level, third level, fourth level, fifth level, a mind and the human being has to emotionally, physically, psychologically, energetically, this human being who will be taken through these 7 steps through self-awareness and self-knowledge, takes them through the understanding about different levels and segments of mind as a state of being, as a different levels of being to refer to, and they have all names. And then the other thing is mind with four dimensions of mind: the dimension of intelligence, the dimension of intellect, the dimension of ego, identity, the dimension of memory. And they have names in English, they have names in Sanskrit. This is from yogic culture. And also there is another dimension which explains about how these sensory organs are divided into different things, like the one which grasps, the one which stores, the one with the gateway, and the whole information will be filtered in a certain way through the filter of identity, ego. So everything that we perceive goes into us subconsciously, from the programs down below to the bottom of the core, that came from family, that came from culture in this life and lifetimes before. Let's deal with this life first. Let's deal with this very life that we are living, um, before we go on to the next. In understanding the various functionalities of various dimensions of mind, we seek to understand the ways how this system as mind is working and body is working. Word fear only exists in the mind. If you were just given a body and there was no mind, would there be fear? Fear is a concept of mind. Fear is an illusion. Yes, caution is important. There are dangers in life. But to become aware of life itself is the thing that which makes us not to put ourselves in dangers. The fear can only be of the past, only be from the past, and only be about the future. So, to understand about the different entry points, Chopper is back. Let's hold on. To understand the different entry points of this fear, is very important to work on fear. In having the understanding about what fear do to us, is it basically bounds us, it basically limits us in experiencing life to its maximum capacity. As human beings who we are already spiritual beings sent to the planet earth, taken birth through our parents, to live as human beings, to live as human in harmony, in love. We are already spiritual beings, but it's not to embrace only the part of human, or it's not even to embrace the only part of the spiritual beauty, but to harmonize both that dimension into one. And the only boundary, the only bondage, the only limitation is fear. fear of not being successful, fear of being abandoned, fear of being judged, fear of death, fear of different varieties and varieties of kinds. But the very root is to become alone and to understand that we are all alone here and we are not. Being alone to die, loneliness is a state that which has a very root in absolute solitude. You've experienced death, the death of the body, the death of the mind, not death as death, but to die. There is a very beautiful quote from Jalaluddin Rumi. He is a Sufi mystic. If you know about Rumi, he is a human being. He was a human being and he is still who said these words to die before you die. Die before you die. What it means is this: to die. Let your ego die. Let your ego die, that your fear die with it. Because the ego is constantly thinking about the future, and the thought about the future as imagination, dreams, or anything it could be are only coming from the coagulated, mixed up, clustered, crossbred memories from the past. Our mind does not have the capacity to think about the future as something truly new. When we say a flower, we can imagine about multiple flowers that which we cannot create new, but we can go into the memory bank of the mind, experientially conceived through our senses. We can remember the smell of the flower, we can remember the color of the flower, we can remember everything. It's about how much focus and attention we gave to the flower. And whatever that which we can create, if I ask you to create a new flower now, you will be mixing up all the flowers that which you have already seen in your life, and then you would project it into a new design referring to the old information that which you have in your past till the very moment. Which means whatever we are creating about the future can only be informations from the past. It could be creative, but not new. So, what is new? What is the freshness? This new and this very moment is connected. And this connection is from your breath of awareness. And when this breath of awareness is connected with you, there is no fear. And in no fear, there is no limit. And in no limit, you experience that limitless that lies beyond the segment of fear. It is very important to have this understanding. We have deeper understandings and deeper coachings in the level of understanding the mind in its seven level of being, four dimensions of mind, four dimensions of perception through the five senses, These are all codes. This is the raw blueprint of mind, how it works. The raw blue. I'm interested to work in the mysticism using the technology and science of understanding it, so that it makes sense. It's not in the air. You understand exactly how this works, so you know how to work with it. Without knowing how, if we just go and sit in the cockpit of a flight, not knowing what this button and what this button is for, we will start hitting everything. And of course, either the flight will not take off or it's gonna fall down soon. So the whole understanding of this teaching and this sharing comes from this point of completely learning your physical system, which is a byproduct of who you are in the unseen, in the unknown, in the non physical. Your reactions, your actions, your life, the way you experience is a byproduct of your own informations and your own data which you have conceived unconsciously, consciously, no matter what it is. The thing is, if you're present to it, when we are present to it in this very moment, we are free. And this is the gate to be free. Freedom is the freedom from our own fears, from our own constructs of mind. The mind have constructed and taken a form in different ways that it have taken, depending upon who you are, where you are born, which parents you belong to, what kind of experiences you have been going through by your own choice and your own responsibilities taken from multiple moments, created experiences as memories which exist within you now. And in this very existence, I truly feel it's time to see this in a different way. The outside world projected onto you has become you. The doors of your sensories has created an outside world projection inside you, which you are working as now. Where are you then? Where are you? Who are you? If all these projections are removed, taken off, if these veils of constructs that have been constructed into you, into your system, as who you are now, has hide, it has hidden the treasure deep inside. The whole work that which we are looking forward to do is to find this jewel which you are truly. It's a treasure hunt. We need to dive deep because we have let ourselves fall deeper. There are different methods and different techniques, but why this technique that I am coming forward with is very important out of many reasons, of which I can say one: it works. It works. That's the most important. It works for those people who are listening to this, who understands this. It works. It works for the people who truly wants to. come out of this illusions. Imagination is a powerful tool, but we need to be consciously using it for us. Memory is a powerful tool, but we need to be using it for us and for the betterment of humanity. Mind is a very powerful tool and blessing if we are able to be present and conscious and aware, and if we are capable of operating it. When we are given powerful tools, and if we do not know how to operate it, of course it's going to create war and destruction. And that's what happened to humanity. That's been what is happening to us. It is time. It is time. It is now. We need to wake up and embrace and choose to take this responsibility, the responsibility of us. The day, the moment, the second, the very moment when we choose to take this responsibility of being responsible for ourselves is the day the divine take responsibility for you. This is the responsibility, and this is the only responsibility that which we have as humans. I would like to remind you of this responsibility as human is an absolute pleasure and happiness and a joy when we choose willingly to be a willing life. Willingness is to include and accept. The ability to accept life the way it is the door to know and feel the ability to manifest, not manipulate. Manipulation can only be happening to yourself. Even if you manipulate someone outside, you are manipulating that part of you, because everything that is projected onto you outside is inside you. This is the oneness that which we are sharing as human around. Everything, everyone, every flower, every insect, every worm, every bird, every valley, every mountain, every ocean, every every flower, everything has a role to play, because you are experiencing them within you. It's science, because when you are looking at something, you're not experiencing it outside. Something outside is creating an experience. So may you be able to choose your own experience in the awareness of your own self, in knowing the depth of your own being, in being that choice to choose to be with yourself, with your senses, with your emotions, with your faculties of mind, with the faculties of your body. So you know how to keep yourself physically, emotionally, psychologically, is the very first big door to open, to go into a dimension beyond that. We have a program which we have designed with the science, art, philosophies that are practically applicable. It's not just not making it a very complicated thing. Easily, a system, a method, a technique, a session of 7 segments, one initiation provided with different tools for everyone to understand the deeper realities, and to understand your physical presence and being and manifestation as a human body, as a tool that which can be used for you in this reality and in every realities that human being can be, is here in the now with this understanding and with this acceptance to move beyond the layers of fear and accepting and knowing that self knowledge, accepting this very moment willingly and including that acceptance into every moment lifts up the veils of fears and moves us beyond, where we can access all those faculties of our mind. But we need to learn, we need to understand, we need to be clear with the understanding and self knowledge. We need to look at the diagram of the mind, physically, emotionally, energetically, psychologically, logically, and beyond logic as well. Beyond logic never comes, people. When we understand about life beyond logic, it doesn't mean that you have to not be logical. We need to be so logical, and our logic needs to be so clear, opens the door to the dimension beyond logic. It's not no logic. There is logic. There needs to be logic. But in that acceptance of logic and not fighting with logic, in acceptance of logic is the door to the beyond logic state. So it's through logic. It's not jumping over. It's not breaking it open. It's in acceptance and it's in surrender to the basic law of nature. The basic law of nature, the basic law of physicality, the seen reality, the experiential reality as life in body, as earth, as the system we live in, politically, family, relationships, everything has a basic law, a basic guideline, a basic logical approach that needs to be made. Commitments, trust, everything needs to be operated, but it will not be hard. Nothing will be hard for a self realized being. He or she can enjoy this process of life in a very beautiful way with the choice of choosing to be absolutely willing and completely letting life expand you to the maximum that life wants you to be. Because life knows better. The source that which gave life to us knows better about us more than we know about us. So the whole game is to surrender to that source. And to surrender to that source is where we are, where we need to be. In surrendering, fear dies, illusions dies. Only that which is true will remain, and everything else that need not serve you will perish. Awareness and presence with yourself on all levels of who you are as a piece of life is your responsibility. And this responsibility is like a light, a candle light. This awareness is like a candle light that can light the whole dark room. May you be that light for yourself and for the world. Thank you so much for taking your time out to listen to this. I hope I'll be able to see you soon